All right, Algebra 3-4, good afternoon. Welcome to a class with Mrs. Kuhlman and her sidekick, Blue. Blue, do you have anything you want to say?
Nope.
Let's start off with lesson number 1. Let's talk a little bit about the brain. So in your brain, I know this is a math class, but there's a lot of brain cells in your brain, and we need to discuss why learning math is so important for brain growth. So what I'd like you to do is take out your notebook, and I'd like you to pause this by drawing this picture. And Blue, how am I doing?
You're doing good. Got everything in the camera.
All right, so you guys go ahead and pause this for a second, draw this beautiful picture, and then I'm going to talk about it. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this beautiful picture that is drawn here. I want you to notice that this entire thing that you drew is called a brain cell, and the technical name for brain cell is a neuron, N-E-U-R-O-N. And neurons, there's millions and millions and millions, billions of neurons in your brain. And some neurons die off over time, and some neurons grow and become stronger over time. Your neuron is made up of a bunch of parts. The first main part that I'd like to point out is this axon, A-X-O-N, and it's this connection piece. And it kind of looks like a long hot dog length. Here I have 5 little pieces that represent this axon, but there are more inside your brain. And this axon is protected by a myelin sheath. And it's like an outer layer of protection that protects your axon. And when you learn math, the myelin sheath actually gets thicker and thicker, and it makes your brain cells stronger. So learning math is so good for your brain. It actually helps with your problem-solving skills, all because it makes your myelin sheath thicker. Okay, and then as you guys know, we have a nucleus, and you guys know what a nucleus is. It's right here. It contains a lot of nuclei, contain DNA and RNA. Here is a nucleus, part of your brain cell. And then we've got these dendrites, and they look like little finger-like projections. And then over here we have an axon terminal. That's the end of the axon. Here's your axon. Here's the axon terminal. Terminal means end. And then we've got these little tiny dots here, and they're called neurotransmitters. And when you learn something new, or when you find out you just got accepted to college and you're really happy, or when you discover that the Packers beat Creighton Prep Blue Jays in a good soccer match, and you get really excited, or when you're sad or angry, any type of emotion that you feel, your brain cells emit neurotransmitters. And they're these little chemicals that come out of your brain. And the more happy you are, the more neurotransmitters and different neurotransmitters get emitted. So neurotransmitters are little chemicals that come out of each of your brain cells. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. And something that's really important is I want to talk about making math mistakes. I make lots of mistakes all the time when I'm doing math. And I hope you guys do too. Making math mistakes is super important in your learning. It's okay to make a math mistake. In fact, I encourage it. Math mistakes are important because they allow your myelin sheath, what I talked about earlier, to become thicker, and that in turn strengthens your axon. When you make math mistakes, the more neurotransmitters actually get released. So those little chemical messengers that I talked about earlier, when you make a math mistake, more of them get released, and that allows for stronger brain connections. When you learn new math concepts, the number of brain cells does not increase. So a lot of people think that when you learn something new, that you get more and more and more brain cells. That's not true. When you learn something new, your actual brain cell, that neuron, it increases in size. It gets bigger and bigger and allows for a stronger connection. And I talked about that word connection. That means your brain cells are connected to each other, and when you learn math, the connections between your brain cells, your neurons, is strengthened and becomes a lot more efficient. All right, guys, that's all I have for this video on neurons. I hope you find it to be a little bit informative. I will ask a couple of questions on your first assessment, your first quiz about this information, so keep it handy. That's all I got for lesson number 1. Anything you need to say, Blue?
Go Packers.
Go Packers.